All right. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into another stream. If you guys are new here in the morning, we typically come in or inside the Discord. We go in there, take a look at NQ price action, see what happened between the interaction of the Asia session and the London session. And then from there, we see what price can do going to the New York session. So if you were with us here last night, we were looking at the potential sweep of this liquidity right there. And here's a little bit of the overnight session, right? Sweep of this liquidity, we had this fair value gap form out after that drop, as well as the lows right here playing a nice little mitigation block almost. Right, so after the sweep right there, we get that displacement to the downside. Price comes back, retests that fair value gap, retests this mitigation, and we get that continuation to the downside. Now during the overnight session, right, we did not come back and fill that gap that we had left through what can I think right now? The gap that we had left from the midnight opening to the opening of the New York session, right? Typically during New York session, price does like to come back to that New York opening price or New York midnight price, which did not today, which is completely fine. If we look here right now, though, all right, let's take a look at what actually happened. We have these liquidities on the downside, which we are pleased that price delivered to those all below, right? So initially, as price was coming down here, or as we opened up at 9:30, we had a 9:30. Typically, we have a 15-minute open low high close or open high low close. So over here, we had a fair value gap, a small one that price tapped into. On the 5-minute, we also had a fair value gap right there, right? Price taps into that fair value gap right there. We can also, I'm sure, take an OTE of this session and can see, right, 705 plus the fair value gap plus the 15-minute open low high close playing out here. Sweep of that. Continuation to the upside, and this is where inside Discord we said, well, there is potential for us to retrace into the London session OTE, which typically if we have a move to the downside, we'll do that. Retrace into London session OTE, which could have been over here, could have been over here, could have been right there, right? All of these with London session, given how fucking huge it is, right? The ranges now. So I said, okay, well, if it's tapping into this fair value gap, it's retracing. We're going to look for shorts, probably going into this right there, right? Right in that 618, as price retraced, we had the new 15-minute candle open up. Price tapped into that. We stay below this hourly fair value gap now. So, right there, right? So, if price, so as we tapped into that, right, that was our kind of cue to go short. We just did it based off of the OTE, not necessarily any other setups over here. You could have taken some shorts based on this, on the close below this fair value gap and retest of it, which would put an inverse fair value gap setup to the downside. But we took some off right off of this, right this order block kind of forming out, and we fucked off. So that was the day for us. Nothing crazy, nothing unusual. That was it when we kind of, where's this path? Yeah, there's that from last night where we outlined it. There's that LR lag getting below that Sunday open. So right now, the level that I want to be watching would be that previous weekly 50%, which is chilling right at 26,988.75. That's the level that I would watch going into the rest of the week. Given that we are below the weekly open and we have swept that previous weekly high, I am going to be watching now what is price going to do around these levels. Are we going to continue to kind of base around that area, or are we going to break through it and continue to the downside? Sorry. Oh, whatever. Volume bounce on the downside. So let's see if we break back below that previous weekly low, then there could be that continuation to the downside. If we stay above it, then, or previous weekly mid, if we stay above it, then we can kind of just range between those two levels. Tomorrow we have big earnings coming out, so Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, I believe, are all reporting tomorrow. So in FOMC news, so this is something that's kind of like we should be cautious. This is either a pullback into OTE of this range right here, right? If we maybe take a look right there, right on the 618, just about. So it's either a pullback into this range here, or we're actually going to get below, which we would need to get back below that 1550 EMA in order for price to see some kind of continuation to the downside and for us to flip. But realistically here, this is where we were just going to be watching. We got a few liquidities on the upside that we could be watching going into that Asia session, London session opening. That, you know, since we are going to open in the middle of the 4 hour, I typically do like to watch the extremes. So right now this 4 hours kind of in between, so I would probably wait for some kind of sweep, maybe retrace into the OT of that range if we are truly about turning this thing around. But we'll see what they bring. On that, that's all I have for today. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in. As always, make sure you give it a like, give it a share. Come check us out on Discord. If you guys didn't see that post earlier where we showed what we outlined, go check it out. Check out us on www.papertraders.io. It's the best way to see what we're all about, things that we offer. Check our Discord out, or check out our Twitter at the Paper Traders. Check out Mr. Haste at Haste Beats. And 3,000 followers for him, we're going to do a lifetime membership giveaway. 2,000 followers for me, we're going to do a tracksuit reel. On that, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.